Welcome gamers to another edition of Gamer Zone, where we play games, talk games, and share with you the latest in gaming. With me, Yume Suryani. We are celebrating women in conjunction with the International Women's Day this week. Happy International Women's Day! And our special for this week will be female protagonists in games. But first, let's hear what the latest in gaming. Hogwarts Legacy is an immersed, open-world, action role-playing game set in 1800s Wizarding World, which puts players at the center of their own adventure. The story has players experiencing life as a student at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry like never before, as they leave the unwritten and embark on a dangerous journey to uncover a hidden truth of the Wizarding World. Warner Bros. Games has assured fans that Hogwarts Legacy will be released sometime in 2022.
Your own story to these hallowed halls and quite possibly shape the future of the Wizarding world. Every corridor, every portrait, every stone in this castle tells the story. Witches and wizards who came before. Here you will meet lifelong friends and grow into your own magical abilities in the classrooms of the world's most talented professors. And while your journey begins at Hogwarts, brewing potions, taming fantastic beasts, and mastering spells, there is a larger world beyond these walls. A world filled with dangers you can't yet imagine. An ancient knowledge long gone from this world. That strange and mysterious talent you possess may be the key to unlocking this dormant power. Your potential is limitless. But what form will it take? The journey ahead will reveal what you stand for. The choices you make now will define the legacy of Hogwarts.
After 6 years and 2 updates, Capcom is moving on from Street Fighter V and has officially announced Street Fighter VI. According to Capcom, Street Fighter VI is coming in summer 2022. In the teaser trailer, we can see that Ryu is looking beefed up and is sporting some facial hair, as he is facing Luke, the 45th and final character for Street Fighter V, is teased to also be featured in the sequel. Bethesda officially saying goodbye to Bethesda.net launcher. Bethesda, a developer well known for its Fallout series and Elder Scrolls series, announced that it will be shutting down its Bethesda.net launcher and in favor of using Steam as its online platform on PC. Rest assured gamers, as Bethesda will help in transitioning your game library and wallet to your Steam account starting in April, and you will not lose anything from your Bethesda.net account. Gamers can still play from the launcher up until May 2022. For more info, visit Bethesda.net on the transitioning the account to Steam. Instead of doing trending games this week, we are doing a special list of our top 10 picks for female protagonists in games. Tifa Lockhart, Final Fantasy VII. Tifa is well known by fans of the Final Fantasy series as the heart-punching heartthrob in Final Fantasy VII. She has been a lot of gamers' darling since 1997, when it was released for the PlayStation and PC. Aya Bria, Parasite Eve. Aya is the main protagonist for the Parasite Eve series, introduced to gamers in 1998. Parasite Eve is a sequel to the novel Parasite Eve by Hideaki Sena. The game follows our protagonist Aya, a New York City police officer, as she investigates a very mysterious case involving the spontaneous combustions of humans, all the while she attempts to stop Eve, the antagonist of the game. Heather Mason, Silent Hill 3. Silent Hill has always graced us with relatable protagonists, but none other more relatable than Heather Mason, as she first appeared as a baby in the first Silent Hill game, becoming a playable character in the sequel Silent Hill 3. Jill Valentine, Resident Evil series. Jill Valentine from the Resident Evil series, a game which started out as a survival horror game turned action RPG and then going back to its root in Resident Evil 7. Another entry is from the same series, Claire Redfield, Resident Evil. Claire Redfield, playable in Resident Evil 2, alongside another hero in the series, Leon S. Kennedy. The younger sister of Chris Redfield, Claire, devoted her life to fighting bioorganic weapons with her human rights organization, TerraSave. After the death of their parents, Claire and Chris grew up as orphans in Raccoon City and have a very close bond, which ignited her search for Chris in Resident Evil 2. Aloy, Horizon series. Aloy, a newcomer in the gaming scene. Horizon Zero Dawn, released in 2017, introduced us to Aloy, a girl that grew up in a post-apocalyptic world where machine dominates the land. Horizon is an open-world game where you get to explore the land as you do your quests. Aloy diligently trains herself to become a great warrior from a young age by her adoptive father. Shell, Portal series. If you're familiar with Shell, she is our silent protagonist from the Portal series, also known as Test Subject Number 1. Being awakened in a testing facility, she solves the puzzle given by the antagonist artificial intelligence GLaDOS. Cassandra, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. An entry from a well-known franchise, Cassandra, one of the three main protagonists in the Assassin's Creed franchise. Cassandra is introduced to gamers as one of the two playable protagonists in the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The other character, her little brother, Alexios. Ellie, our youngest protagonist in the list, is at number 2. Saved by Joel in The Last of Us, the sequel focuses on her struggle and stories from her point of view. The sequel takes us into the point of view of Ellie as she struggles to accept the brutal reality of the new world. Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider series. Our leading lady of the Tomb Raider series, our favorite archaeologist, takes the top spot. Lara Croft has been a presence in the gaming industry ever since the early days of gaming, when Doom and Quake was the center of every game's attention. That's our top 10 picks of our favorite female protagonists in game. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back, gamers. This week, we'll recommend The Magister. The Magister is a murder mystery card battler RPG, where you build and customize your deck to fight in battles or use tactical diplomacy to pacify those who stand in your way. Gather clues and discover motives as you investigate the death of your predecessor and unmask the guilty culprit.
My name is Sim. I'm also better known as NERDOOK on the internet, and I've been making games for I think almost 15 years now. So I started in the Flash era, and those of you who are old enough, you remember we used to play those Flash web games. So yeah, there was a platform called Congregate, so I used to make sponsored games there. And then later on, I started my own studio. At its core, it is actually an RPG, but a light one. So one of my aims from when I first started game development was to make an RPG that is procedurally generated, which means unlike some RPGs where you played it once, the story is the same every time. Maybe you make a few different choices, but the story is the same. So in this case, it is something more ambitious. The entire RPG, the structure changes when you start. So the easiest way for me to do that is to make it a murder mystery. So in this case, you're a magister, something like a Witcher, but it's like a magister, a fantasy law enforcer, basically a very strong person. So you are going to this province and you're trying to investigate what happened to the previous Magister who was murdered. So every time you play, the story is different. The murderer is different. The way he did it or she did it is different. Basically, it's a murder investigation / RPG / card game. So it's several genres joined together. Yeah. The first game I did for Steam was called Vertical Drop Heroes. It was basically a remake of one of my early Flash games. It was a platformer game. And then later on, the next game is called Reverse Crawl. It's like a tactical strategy game where instead of playing the good guys, you actually play the bad guys. So that's why it's called Reverse Crawl, like the dungeon crawl, but in reverse. The third game is the most successful. It's called Monster Slayers. It was basically a deck building game that came out before Slay the Spire. So Slay the Spire was a huge hit, but because Monster Slayers came out first, so quite a lot of people also downloaded the game. And yeah, it's my most successful game by far.
Cabaret. Cabaret is a visual novel dark fantasy adventure game. Cursed into a monster, Jabat journeys into a realm called the Alam. Taken in by the charismatic owner of Cabaret, known only as the Caretaker, Jabat is tasked with providing tasseomancy services to the dwellers in an effort to gather information on how to break his curse. Get to know the wide cast of characters from Southeast Asian myths and interact with them while brewing tea, playing traditional games, and all the while putting your humanity at risk. And that's it for this week's update. Don't forget to tune in to our show again next week, same time, same place, only on Gamer Zone. Eat, sleep, game, repeat. See ya!